Well, guess what? We are live. We made it. We made it, y'all. It's going to be interesting. Who do you think is going to be the first person on today's stream? Who do you think it was? Who was it?
Reggie.
It was Nadim.
Nadim is back at it?
Nadim is back at it again.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, it is heating up. So I'm super duper excited. I know you're excited. We are both excited because there's a lot going on for us to discuss. So
let me share this out.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So while you're doing that, what's up, everybody? I'm Mark Monroe, and this is the wonderful Jolyn GC in the place to be sitting right next to me. Of course, totally.
I'm going to work on that a little higher.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. No, I'm not doing that again. But we have a very, very awesome surprise for each and every single one of you. Today is all about looking into the future. So imagine what the future looks like when we talk about, like, if the Come Up series literally just went into full-fledged futuristic mode.
Okay.
Should we give them a taste of that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So before we bring on some of the surprises, which should be very, very interesting, let's get some of the other stuff out of the way. If you haven't subscribed yet, you need to go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, because if you have no idea what's going on tonight, it's probably going to just like blow your mind. And then on top of that, if you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button. Apparently, YouTube's algorithm does something so that way it gets out to other folks that are just as awesome as you that need to see this. And then on top of that, if you want to be in the know, aka the Cool Kid Squad, go ahead and hit that bell so that way you can be notified whenever we have a show or a video that is posted. All right, so without further ado, well, let's just get some of the other stuff.
Yes. Okay, let's get into this market overview real quick, y'all, because it was a green. All right, we have the Dow at up 148.83 points. S&P 500 was up 21.31 points, and the NASDAQ was up 106.56 points. For sector performance, there are 11 sectors. We track the top 3 and the bottom 3. So the top 3 were real estate, materials, and health. And then for the bottom, we had financials, communication services, and energy. For our pick performance, which we call our 31 sips, which you can find on Instagram at that Come Up series. Coming in at number 1, my stock crush.
I don't have any
Tesla.
water.
I haven't drank out of this. You can pour some of that.
I may have to send somebody in to bring a bottle of water or something.
Yeah, because you're going to need to sit for my stock crush. Okay, so Tesla, WWE, and Datadog were the top 3. Then we have Google, Best Buy, and Lamb Research coming in at the bottom here. Now, we also had some 52-week highs. So Tesla hit a new high.
Let's talk about it.
I'm so happy. I'm just really proud of the decisions that I've made when it comes to who gets to occupy the space of my portfolio, Yeah.
Is there like another backstory to this, or something that we're going to hear about later in the next season of Wealth Rituals?
We might, because there are some things that have been happening behind the scenes that I haven't been able to share with you all because I'm committed to being on a winter break. So when we come back, when things get rolling, we have new stuff. So let's see. Speaking of a bright future, TAN, as in TAN, solar ETF, super bright. That hit a 52-week high. Then we have Hack, Cloud, we already mentioned Tesla, Square, Zscaler, and Roku, all 52-week highs. So the list was looking pretty good performance-wise. So are you seeing any super chat dollars in there?
I think that we're probably seeing like 1 or 2.
Okay.
So
that's fine. Because if you are seeing these super chat dollars, did you know? And I'm sure you do because obviously, but our super chat dollars are placed into a burner account, and then we donate those to 7 organizations. The first one is Life Enrichment Group, Greenwood Project, The Bridge Echo Village, People's School for Positive Education, Black Mental Health Alliance, Operation Reachback, and Live to See Cancer. This is a part of the Come Up series initiative called Come Up Community. we usually pick organizations that have some connection to the cousins or would benefit the communities that the cousins live in. So there's that. And I will save my other announcements for later because I really want to get to our guest.
Yes, y'all. So remember how we say about like the future is bright? Tonight we're going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of that. And so I think we should unveil who our guests are tonight.
We should.
All right, so should we just do the drum roll, please, for the reveal?
Yes. Introducing, coming in, super duper bright. It's the future.
We're waiting. It's like that element. Okay. Hey!
Look at our future.
Come into the video.
Scoot over. You guys gotta get cozy. Yeah.
Hey, nobody.
Oh my goodness, how are you all doing? You guys are so awesome. Okay.
Jolyn, you gotta stay in the camera, okay?
There you go.
So you all, we are so excited to introduce you to the future. And when we say future, we're really talking about future investors. We have, and I'm sorry, I go by nicknames. I hope you guys are okay with that. It's to protect y'all. Okay, so we have Lou. And Lou, Miss Lou, how old are you?
Yeah. Say.
How old are you?
How old are you, honey? 4.
You're 4.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And we have Ellie. Ellie, how old are you?
6.
Okay. And then we have big brother Johan. How old are you?
7.
7.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
we have 4, 6, and 7-year-old investors. Now, do you all call yourself investors?
I kinda. I don't call myself one. Neither do I.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
We'll do that.
And then we have Mom in the background. Hi, Mom.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us.
Yes. We're
Thank you for
super
joining
excited.
us. We are super duper excited for you all to join us. So I'm stunned. Like, I'm literally stunned. So I guess like run us back through the story of how is it that you all got involved into investing? How did the kids get involved in investing?
So yes, once the kids transition into virtual learning, we needed to come up with a plan to keep them busy. And the market crashed in March, so I opened their initial accounts April 30th. Okay.
It's okay, Lou.
So,
It's okay.
yeah,
It's
we're
okay.
good, Lily. I'm sorry. So
Your
we
hair looks
opened their
beautiful.
accounts and we did the training.
Mhm.
Oh, look, just give me a second. It's okay. It's all right. All right. You can sit next to me right here. So we opened their accounts in April, and I wanted them to learn. Honey, you're disturbing everybody.
Oh.
It's okay. So pretty much, I wanted them to learn something new, and I knew they could easily retain this information. So that's pretty much what I started for them.
Oh, awesome. So, okay, so each and every single one of them have their own stock picks, correct?
Yes, so I opened a stockpile account for them. They chose their stock. I think once I made the mistake of adding Workhorse for them and they told me to remove it. We immediately sold Workhorse, but yeah, these are stocks that they personally chose based on what they're familiar with.
Okay. So, all right. So let's hear about these stock picks because, the Come Up series says we have stock picks. So we'd like to know how spot on and how close we are to your picks. So what pick did you pick, Johan?
I picked Amazon, Disney, Apple, Electronic Arts, Tesla, Target, Microsoft, Nintendo.
What else?
Missing
Boeing.
it? Boeing.
Okay. Okay.
That's all.
Now, Ellie, what about you?
Amazon,
Mhm.
Apple, Tesla, Target, Disney, Boeing, Microsoft, Nintendo, Walmart,
Mhm.
Target.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what's your favorite stock?
My favorite stock is Apple.
Okay. Now
Oh,
what's
you're
your
missing one.
wait, hold up.
Oh wait, I missed one.
Which is it?
One of my stocks are electronic arts.
Okay.
I thought there was another one.
Wait, is there another one?
Which one's your favorite?
Unless you sold it now, Ellie. I remember you telling me about one.
Disney?
Yes. Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I remember that I had removed Disney off of the come up picks list.
Take a closer. Listen to.
I remember I had removed Disney off of the come up picks list. And I heard that you were not so happy with me removing it off of the list.
He's like,
I later brought it back. So have you noticed that that Disney has come back to the list?
You like it?
yes. Because I've been watching, because me and my dad's been watching movies, the Mandalorian shows, all these.
Okay.
Earlier, I was just watching Hulk and the Agents of Smash on Disney Plus. Earlier, I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy series on Disney Plus.
Okay, so what made you frustrated with, why were you upset with me for removing Disney off of the list?
But she was just upset because Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Plus. She was just upset because she was not mad. She just felt like emotional, I think. No,
Okay. Okay, so now that Disney's back on, and I think you sent a video, by the way, that I had the opportunity to see. I had the opportunity of seeing it. And Ellie, you are super duper cool. You are super duper cool. And the fact that, I think it was a video where she said, so Disney's up 15%.
Is Mr. Mark paying attention?
Now, is Lou ready? Is she ready to share what's in her portfolio? Do you want to share?
Yeah, Lilia, she's ready.
Lilia, tell them your stocks.
Which ones do you have? It's okay. We're going.
Okay, I have video proof that Miss Lou has her stocks.
Yes, I let her pick her stocks, and initially it was more like, okay, well, I want to do Play-Doh. So we look at Play-Doh, and it was like, okay, with Hasbro. So initially the way it registered with her was we were going to go buy Play-Doh, or we were going to go to Target and shop. But lately, it clicked in where she's like, well, these are my stocks, and Tesla makes electronic cars, and Hasbro makes Play-Doh. So even a 4-year-old is able to process this material.
Let me ask her, Lou, can you tell us what Boeing makes?
You'll get your vitamins.
I can't see your mouth.
What do they make?
They make airplanes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does Apple make?
Tell her. You know this. What does Apple make? You'll get 2 vitamins. How about that? I pause. She's done. She's
All
done.
right, Ellie, you know I gotta test you. You know I gotta test you tonight.
You ready, Ellie?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does Tesla make?
Tesla makes electronic cars.
Okay.
Okay.
So what does Electronic Arts make?
FIFA and the Star Wars game.
Okay.
And Madden.
Johan, what does Target do?
Target is a store. They have toys and stuff. What will help you like food. Stop. They have a lot of toys. And it's a company. And they also have a lot of toys.
Okay.
Lots of toys. Okay.
So Johan, what is your favorite stock?
My favorite stock is Tesla, Amazon, and Electronic Arts.
So why is Tesla your favorite stock?
Amazon.
Oh, yours is Amazon? So why is Amazon your favorite stock, Lulu?
It makes me money. Because I like it.
Okay.
Was that Johan's reason? I like Johan.
Wait, Johan, what is your reason?
Makes me money, and like when I grow up, I'm gonna buy a Model S.
A Model S.
Okay.
A Tesla Model S.
Okay. All right.
I like the red one.
So do you have any questions for us?
Yes. Go tell them.
Oh yeah. My mom wanted me to see which one would you choose, Costco or Home Depot.
Oh, that's a good question. So for me, I would probably go with Home Depot. And the reason why I would go with Home Depot is because of the fact that Home Depot shows us that even after we get past 2020 and all the stresses of 2020, then ultimately Home Depot also has a brilliant road where people are going to forever need to want to do home improvements. They're also going to use Home Depot and what's inside and what they buy from the store to build homes, as well as to do other types of projects. Costco is very much so the retail store where you can buy a lot of things at wholesale price. But for the most part, I like Home Depot.
Okay.
Does Ellie have a question for us?
Which one would you prefer, Kellogg or General Mills?
Ooh. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with General Mills. Only because during the pandemic, like when I look at like consumer staples, General Mills is one of those brands that performed well during this pandemic time. So, and I'm not big on consumer staples, but if I had to pick between those two, I would definitely go with General Mills, only because I'm familiar with how they performed over during this pandemic time.
I prefer General Mills too because they make
All
cute.
right. You do too?
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, that's I do want to say, y'all, so now we brought the kids on here because they are the future.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've known their mom, Elinor, since I was, how were we, Elle? Like 20?
Yep, 20.
So I'm not going to say how long we've known each other.
Yeah, let's not do that.
We were like 20 years old when we met. We went to undergrad together. We studied for the bar exam together. Even when I had to take the bar exam again because I failed the first time, guess who was in the library with me studying? Elinor. And also, I remember, this was for the Washington State Bar, and I remember Elinor telling me, she's like, make sure you study wills and trusts in the States. Historically, that hadn't been on the exam for like 20 years or something. And so nobody else studied for it. I remember I studied for it for one day because Elinor told me to. And for the first time in like 25 years or however many years it was, that section was on the exam. When I tell you, pencils were breaking, people were crying, people were packing up their stuff to leave because they knew they didn't study and they failed.
Meanwhile,
in that moment, I was like, my girl, Elle, and I just wrote out my exam and I was just sitting there, just looking at everybody leave. And I was just like, see y'all later. And I knew in that moment, I knew I passed that test. And so, Elle, I don't know if I ever personally thank you for that, but thank you for telling me to be diligent and study everything and not leave anything to chance, because that really did. And Elinor also is now still a practicing attorney. She has her own immigration law firm in the DMV area. And Elinor is also responsible for my own personal petition for my husband to be here, which we are now just waiting for the interview date so that he can interview, get his visa, and then come up here. So Elinor also is instrumental in that part of my life as well. And I have known Johan since he was a baby, and I've known Ellie since she was a baby. And I have yet to meet Lou in person, but I've been there from afar. Virtual auntie.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Elinor is also one of my really dear friends. And so it means a lot to me that Elinor took it upon herself to go on this journey. Like with us, they're the Come Up series. There are so many friends and family that have not made that first step. And Elinor stepped in, and not only did she step in, but she brought her kids along too, you know, and that is just really special to me. And so I feel like we're all on this journey together. And you know, Johan, Ellie, and Lou, I'm so proud of you. All three of you.
Y'all are the future. Like one day you guys will be, you guys will be pretty much, if not bigger than where we are. So, I mean, I'm excited.
I got so excited.
I start my own YouTube channel. I can't.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Well, make sure you invite us.
Well, make sure you invite us on as guests, because I would love to be a guest on your show.
Okay, so my question for you all is, what time is it there? Because I know your bedtime.
It's bedtime, way past bedtime. So thank you for having us. Really.
Thank you guys for joining us. We so appreciate you guys, and keep learning, keep studying, and keep being so awesome like you guys are. We are such big fans of yours. So keep doing what you're doing.
And keep sending me videos so I can show them to Mark.
For sure.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Wow.
Oh my gosh,
awesome.
that like just so warms my heart just to know that we have, like, that was like the future right there. Like, that's the future of investing.
The future.
Those are the future investors that will literally bring forth significant change in this world. Like, this is what we focus on. So
and let the record reflect that they're young, but they're OG cousins. They've been there from the beginning.
From the jump. Weren't they there when we were also on Facebook?
I believe so.
Yes, they were. I mean, yeah, they were one of our first ever. I think we actually shouted them out every now and then.
Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the only days they could stay up late. So.
Interesting. Well, I don't think that we're done with surprises, are we?
No, we're not. You know, we stay ready with the surprises.
I mean, especially if we're going to be talking about this future, you know, I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't bring some friends along with us, right? Yes. I mean, so, yo, can we get our friends here on the stage with us? Who we got here? Like, who else is here with us? Hey!
Hey, y'all!
So we know who this guy is, but we have yet to meet who this wonderful sister is here with us today. So,
right, man.
oh my gosh, here you go with the do-rag. You know what? If
he
went with the do-rag, then you know I gotta come out with this. I had to do it.
Not on it is after hours. It's
okay.
Right.
Bonnet gang all day.
Yo, so for those that don't know who these two wonderful individuals are, of course, Tevo, little brother, is like kind of like the you're the come up cousin correspondent. So like he like literally like is working behind the scenes, but at the same token, he's also one of our best. He actually is our best moderator whenever we're in Clubhouse, and also keeping people in line in these comment sections as well.
You feel me?
Yes. And then we have someone in whom which that y'all have not had the pleasure of meeting until this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Miss Shannon Bullock. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Welcome.
What's up?
Now, here's the interesting thing that the world doesn't know about Shannon. Shannon was the first person to ever get the riddle from the Come Up series feature that we did for the Roaring 20s. Y'all don't want to smoke with Shannon, but y'all gonna get it tonight. All right. But here's another interesting thing, because in the spirit of what we're doing tonight, for those of you that are wondering, like, yo, when are you guys coming out with this merch and everything else? Actually, there's actually been 2 new riddles that have now been put in merch, and they're now available on the store today. So they're available, and of course, if you get them riddles together and everything else, you know, it may start as a one-on-one, but you know, that's neither here. So there's actually 2 riddles. There's one on my side, and then there's one Jolyn's side. So there's
Wait, Jolyn got a riddle? Okay, Jolyn, you coming?
My riddle comes with an automatic goon hand if you don't get it right now. I'm just kidding.
all right. So we know cousin Tevo's story. Shannon, before we even get going, we got just give us a little sneak peek about your story into like your journey as an investor / trader.
All right. So I'll give you all the abbreviated version. I have been a traditional long-term investor since my first job, right? So my parents told me, get a job. If they have 401k, contribute to the 401k, get the match. And so that was what I did. And I did that for about 15 years. And I started realizing that it was going to take me a little longer to reach some of my financial goals if that was my only strategy. So last year, I went on this whole sort of financial independence kind of rabbit hole, just trying to figure out how can I do some of the things that I want to do faster than my long-term investing was going to get me there. So that actually led me to Terry's trade and travel course. So I took Terry's course, shout out to Terry, learned a lot about how to read charts, how to swing trade. And then I just fell in love with it. And then I found Mark and got introduced to options. And remember that 401k I was telling you guys about that I started like 20 years ago? Mm-hmm. So that had rolled over because I changed jobs a couple times. And I had that being managed by a brokerage firm or whatever. I took control of that, pulled it out of all those mutual funds, put it all in options, and haven't looked back.
That is awesome.
I'm out of water, y'all.
That is awesome.
Yo, Steve, if you're watching, please put me on water. Like, I need your help. Okay, so that's awesome. But oh wait, somebody else is knocking on the door, y'all. Should we?
Let's turn up.
Yeah, turn up.
Well,
and Shannon, your background is
you guys
real
may have
elegant.
seen this person before. Y'all may have seen this person very, 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 very recently. I mean, let's see what happens when they decide to join us.
The sniper?
Just couldn't get enough.
Just couldn't get enough, right? Just couldn't get away. Yo, you know what's so funny? I have been like trying to read the back of that sign for so long. It says all things are difficult before they are easy.
Yep.
Talk about it.
Yo, we are going to talk about it because we got to step into a few things. Now, for those of you that don't know, yours truly has been stepping into the matrix, but just because I said I was stepping into the matrix didn't mean that I was stepping into the matrix by myself. Now, normally I do that, but I'm actually peeling back the curtain a little bit for everybody. But at the same token, I realize if I'm going to be doing this, then I'm definitely going to need a league of extraordinary gentlemen and women to also help me in this endeavor, to help mentor other folks in this process. So we've all been going through the rigorous things in which that normally take place in Mark's own head. Now it's like everybody else is kind of like sharing kind of like that burden of going through that process. And I'm sorry, I've been putting them through so much. So everybody's just gonna do this sigh and do all this, like, yo.
No, it's cool though. It's
been
cool.
A lot, man. It's been great. Tevo and I have had a lot of really good conversations about like the future, and Kiki and Shannon, I'll be hitting y'all up too to get your thoughts. But I'm excited to see this part 2.
Yes, hence the reason why the key crux why we are all here, right? So let's get to this presentation, shall we?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and share this wonderful, magnificent screen. Now, for those that that weren't around like on the other day, hopefully do you guys all see this beautiful screen here as it pertains to? Well, I mean, we started here, but we kind of ended at that screen last time. But all right, so here we are. We originally had it as 2021 just as a preview, right? And of course, this is a come up school for investing, special. So if you're here, Buckle up. All right. So what we said was, how is it that you can kind of get an idea of looking forward? Because remember, what I always do is I start from the finish line and walk it all the way back. So today we get to give you a little bit more of a peeling of the curtain back. And I brought some wonderful friends alongside with me to help support me in this endeavor. So are we ready for 2023?
I'm ready.
Though that next year is only 2021, but you know,
we live in the future.
We live in the future.
We're bright.
Yeah, and you know,
we're
it's like if you think about these beautiful clouds where we fly up above and you know look down below to see the landscape.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that. All right, so I'm going to go into a Bob Ross mode. Let me stop. All right, so just as a you know small little precursor. So if you notice, we started at 2023, and now we said looking at 2022. See what we did there? A little magic. All right, so here's what we said: road to recovery. So for anybody that forgot, we said we are so ready to move on from 2020.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's ready to move on from 2020?
I don't think so, honestly. It's been bittersweet.
Kiki, you're a little muted, so.
Oh no.
Tevo, are you ready to move on from 2020?
Man, you know I'm ready to move on. I've been extracting the vestigial small-mindedness all week. I'm ready. Let's go.
Tevo, word of the day.
Hey.
We need a sound effect.
Yeah, we need that. We need that sound effect. All right, so the world is ready for a little bit of calm, right? We went through a lot this year. Like we've had folks, you know, ultimately pass away. We've had folks that ultimately we saw businesses significantly impacted. We saw like literally economies wrecked, jobs lost. I mean, the whole nine. And yet, of course, we saw that this market was not really indicative of what the actual economy read. But yet at the same token, we're looking at it purely just from the economic standpoint for right now. So how do we get past this? Well, first things first, before you can move on, you must assess what the damage is. So how much damage has been brought on into the economy, not only just domestic, but also thinking about as it pertains to the global economy. Now, some economies have been able to move forward. I mean, they've been able to recover and move on and get right back into the swing of things. Now, in other cases, we've seen that there has been some impact. So what sectors have been hit the hardest? So that's always a good way to look at it. So then after you've assessed the damage and kind of like get an idea of what the landscape is, then it's time to start putting forth a strategy for a solution. So we call this, what's the new play for moving forward? Kind of like that.
I do too.
Kind of has a nice little jingle to it.
AKA shmoney.
All right. So 2022, what will work? So we kind of look at it in the sense of, and don't get too hung up on the color codings, because honestly, the color codings are just the colors that we like, because it's just awesome, red and black. But we look at all four pieces to each and every single different section. Now, if you saw from the previous episode, we talked about these are the things that are the most important. Now, we went through fundamentals, we went through technicals, and if you notice, if you go back through almost every single Come Up Series episode that we do, we always try to tie in some form of the economics so that way you can get a landscape, an idea of landscape of what is it that we should be seeing and how does it impact the market. And which, I mean, after you look at economics, of course, you see impact. So if you think about it, you start from the basics, then get a little bit technical, then look at the entire landscape, and then see from that landscape, as it pertains to whether damage or also awesomeness, how does it impact everything else around it? So then we said, okay, hey, well, let's look at 4 different sectors that we thought that are ultimately potential winners. So we said, let's look at technology, consumer discretionary, industrials, and healthcare. And then as of recently, you know, we started going through some winners and started looking at some losers and the backups and who's just plain toxic. Like, yeah, let's move on from that. We're not going to talk about that. So yeah, we're not going to talk about that. So then we move on to the future in the sense of looking at the state of the consumer. Now, in the next slide, I'm actually going to allow some of our friends to join in on this conversation, because we definitely want to hear what they've got to say as it pertains to how is it that they would adjust things, just to see what it's like to be in our matrix. So we look at the state of the consumer, we look at the geopolitics, we look at the economy, and then also what ties it all together is we look at trade or GDP. So when we look at those things as it pertains to products and services, they all matter. These 4 things definitely matter, and I'm probably sure that there's a few other things. So let's move it on to, now I'm probably sure that this group of phenomenal people on this stage know what this diagram is about. So in the spirit, Shannon, can you explain to everybody what this diagram means?
This is really all you need, I think, just to look into the future and figure out, okay, you take your picks, you take your favorite companies, look at them in the context of what happened between 2019 and 2020, right? And then what does the future look like? Where are they going? What world do we live in when these companies that you believe in hit their stride in 2022?
Okay, so we're gonna do some should we just do like an example here to begin? All right, so so just as a simple taste test, I'm gonna let these 3 choose one of the companies that's on here, and then they're gonna break it down for you to look forward to, say, for example, the future. Can we do that for them? Just a little, just one company, just a simple taste. Okay.
Let's go.
Now that we're removing the edge off of everybody, and so.
Wait, can we pause for a moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all, I just want to make sure that your notes are organized. Like as I go ahead, as you could have before, as I like to do. So right now, what we are doing is this is all about making your trade plans, and how you think about approaching making a trading plan. So the first thought that you should have is, what happened in 2019 and 2020? So you want to think about that, because this is really an exercise in how to think about the future. I know that many of you have sent messages, asking about, how do I research and all that. But first, before you even begin to research, it goes back to, what is your worldview? Like, what happened in your world or in our world? That will help set the context. And so when you're going back over your notes, just to keep it really, really simple, you can just set a timer and just brainstorm every single thing that happened. Maybe that's 5 minutes, whatever it is, just write out everything that happened, and then go back through that list and see what companies were involved with those events. And then after you do that, then we move on to this part.
Okay, so who wants to be first? Or are we just randomly picking?
Well, we already talked about Home Depot.
Okay, so we won't add Home Depot onto the list because I feel like that's just cheating. So
I mean, Tesla hit a 52-week high today.
But we got to look to the future, though.
Tesla is the future.
Over here giving away answers.
I'm just saying.
Okay, we're gonna let them pick. So first off, we're gonna go with Tevo. Tevo, pick a company.
Let's go with Amazon.
Okay, and then Shannon, what company are you gonna take?
I'm gonna go Chipotle.
And then Kiki.
Gotta go with Tesla, man. I love it. Okay,
so Kiki's got Tesla. So we got so we're gonna let Shannon, since this is her first time to the stage. Shannon, you got first.
All right. So if we're thinking about Chipotle and what has happened between 2019 and 2020, they took a hit in their business. Obviously, a lot of restaurants closed down because of COVID. So restaurant sales weren't as high. People weren't eating out as much. But the good thing about Chipotle was they figured out how to pivot. They figured out how to get people continuing to order, takeout, even in the midst of a time where people were staying at home and not going out as much. So that's the what was. And if we look at what will be, I think that Chipotle is primed to capitalize on that pivot that they made out of necessity that opens up a whole new line of business for them, right? So they have the Chipotlane, the locations where it's only like drive-through, you don't go in. They have the ghost kitchens where all they do is make delivery. So they just, I think that they're on the cutting edge of a lot of ahead of a lot of other players in this industry. That's going to position them well in the future.
Oh, all right. Who's next? Oh, okay. Let's go, Kiki.
Oh, I thought you were okay, so we got Tesla. We all know since the beginning of this year, Tesla has actually been really, really great at running up. Their car revenue has dramatically increased. They've already been talking about robo taxis. Their autonomous trucks that they're building out. They have their integration systems. They are a solar company on top of it. They have their own construction company, subscription services. I mean, they're the top 5 right now for what I say, in the S&P 500. That's a $2 trillion company. And now they're putting their feet into the insurance company aspect. I mean, as far as Tesla go, it's all around. People want to be Tesla.
So when we think about the future, right, as it pertains to what will be, let's go a little bit further. Let's think 3 to 5 years out. What could be built from, say, for example, a Tesla future, as well as, let's say, a Chipotle future?
Smart cities.
Smart cities, yep.
Okay. All right, Tevo.
All right, man. So I went with one of the giants, Amazon. You feel me? What was for Amazon, as we know, they killed the e-commerce game. The Corona really showed a spike in their sales from Prime Day to just regular people buying stuff all through the Corona being locked down, staying on the phone, ordering everything. They really ramped up their same-day delivery and one-day delivery. So you order something, 2 hours later, it's right at the door. You feel me? And then let's see, they also had the AWS cloud, which has expanded exponentially over the past couple of years. So that's kind of what was. Now, what will be, we're looking at drone delivery, where you're not even having people pull up to your house no more. You might have a robot just come and drop it off like a crane on your doorstep. You got more AI technology expanding, the cashier-free stores, where you could even start doing some biometric payment, where you just, throw your thumbprint on there, it come right out your account. Of course, they're getting into the fitness and the gaming, as well as the autonomous area. So, not only are they gonna have the drones, they might even get into the vehicle space, and you might see Amazon cars, whipping through the neighborhood, tossing boxes out out the window. You feel me? So the future is looking very bright for Amazon. I don't feel like they're going nowhere. So if you plan to put a long-term put on Amazon, I would go ahead and take that off tomorrow if I was you.
I have a question for Tevo. So Tevo, now we all know Amazon is really expensive. It's one of those premium stocks. Yep. So what could someone do if they wanted Amazon exposure but could not afford Amazon prices?
That's a very good question, because me personally, myself, I like to think that way. Some people have a kind of a little budget in their portfolio, so they might not be able to touch an Amazon call. There's this little ETF that you might want to look up called XLY, which has 20% exposure to Amazon. It's the biggest holding in that ETF. So if you in the one contract gang, if you really want a piece of Amazon, you was really feeling everything that I was talking about, go to etfdb.com, type in XLY, look at the holdings, and you might find a little present there for you that you'll be able to afford for Christmas.
What's interesting,
and this was not planned. This was not planned at all.
Not. Every single pick
is in consumer discretionary.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that.
Y'all didn't even do that on purpose.
Y'all didn't even do it on purpose. It's like that's what you
that
chose.
Synergy. We've been together too long.
We're family.
I know, right? Okay, so in that spirit, right? So let's talk a little bit about, like, for example, for those of you that are trying to figure it out, like, how are they thinking like that? So here are just a few questions that you need to think about. Let's keep the conversation very simple. First things first, what is the best way to get started? What are you looking for? 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 what are the catalysts for success going into the future? Now, if you notice, each and every single one of their pitches had everything to do with what was the catalyst for that company to be successful. Not just next year, we're talking about 3 to 5 years out. So there's got to be a catalyst that ultimately drives the company to literally be successful, even not 1, not 2, not 3, but 3 to 5 years out. That's amazing. When we think about it, if you're thinking on the long-term stock investment strategy, or even if you're looking at it from an option standpoint, it kind of helps you paint the road as it pertains to what's ahead.
I have another thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Get the 2. Okay, so one other thing for the catalyst, y'all. Having it down, like what these catalysts are, will prevent you from hopping in people's DMs, second guessing yourself, asking, well, what do you think about this trade? Knowing the catalyst will support your thesis so that you're confident and you won't need someone else's opinion. You can have a conversation about it, but you won't be asking someone, what do you think? Because you've already thought about the future.
Which brings us into the second question. What does the future look like? Okay, so, all right, so just close your eyes for a second. Or if you don't want to close your eyes, if you think that that's just weird, right? Somebody telling you to close your eyes through a YouTube live, then I get it. All right, so, so let's visualize it, shall we? Imagine if you walk outside your door right now and say, for example, the future was just sitting right there in front of you. What would you say is that future? Would it be a bunch of drones delivering packages early in the morning as you wake up? Would it be also, say, for example, a taxi, that robo-taxi waiting to take you off to either your next destination, either a flight or, say, for example, to your office? Or would it also be in the sense that as you are in this robo-taxi, that ultimately there's no driving necessary? You're just literally just checking in on emails and what's happening in the world around you while going through your portfolio, and also just happen to glance through the window of your robo-taxi, and you just happen to see, say, for example, things just moving, everybody not having to worry about their feet on the steering, their feet on the pedal and their hands on the wheel. And they're more so having you see a family that's sitting in another robo-taxi right next to you and having an engaging conversation with each other. Imagine also in that same visualization where you think about the smart grid of, say, for example, that city. The entire city that you live in is completely powered by electricity. So no oil. So the air that you breathe, all clear. No exhaust from, say, for example, that annoying person that has that pickup truck or that old Astro van that just needs to go goodbye. And then on top of that, when we think about it also, just imagine this. Imagine being able to step into, say, for example, your office or whatever else it is to unlock is just using biometric or, say, for example, facial recognition. I mean, just imagine such a world. I mean, just imagine the AI technology that goes in and that plays a part. And if you can visualize that, once you visualize that, start thinking about the players and which that are going to get you there. So then here comes the question number 3. And we left these blanks so that way if you wanted to, you can kind of like just have it set it up on your own sheets of paper and then literally just use this as your own little diagram. So if we ask, what are the potential blockers that are standing in the way to that future?
Haters gonna hate, y'all.
There are quite a few Agent Smiths out there that are there to seek and destroy. So essentially, what would be your Agent Smith when it comes to your investment strategy or to us getting to that future? Could it be regulation that is unnecessary? Could it be, say, for example, that the technology doesn't work or that it doesn't take? Now, when we think about this, when you think about the blockers there, then at the same time that you're thinking about your blockers, also start thinking about if you have a blocker towards that future. That could possibly also prove that there could be a pivot point as it pertains to if an investment strategy isn't working or if it's taking a little bit longer to cook. Then you could possibly pivot to another position in which that is expected to do well in the midst of, say, for example, that other strategy's pain.
You said a key word.
What is that?
Pivot.
I did. Pivot. And the reason why we say pivot is because of the fact that not all investment strategies essentially have a one-size-fits-all thing. So essentially it's like what may be, say, for example, a consumer discretionary play, but if consumer discretionary slows down and if technology is showing signs of life, that's a pivot strategy. And the way that you do that is you plot it out by literally looking at these types of things from what was to what will be. And then on top of that, if you want to draw another column, have a blockers, or what we like to call Agent Smiths. Or she calls them haters.
Haters.
So when we think about it, what could be those potential blockers from stopping that future? And if there's a potential blocker, if there's a blocker or if there's a challenge, then there's always an opening somewhere.
I want to add something.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm seeing requests for PDF slides. Y'all, we don't give out PDFs. We never have.
We never have.
We never have. And let me tell you some thinking behind that. One, all of this that we are learning, like what you see, you need to make it real for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if that means getting giant Post-it notes and writing it out, so be it. If it's writing all over a wall, so be it. If it's chalk, whatever, get in where you fit in. Because this right here is an exercise, and that when you're thinking about the future, you want to be in it. And I mean like fully immersed in it. So set some time aside and just get wild. And having a PDF is not going to set you apart. The PDF is irrelevant, but it's about what's up here and what you can use with your hands to capture that information and put it in your own notes. And also, once our trading plan investor journal extravaganza is complete, then you'll be able to put it in there. So we don't give out PDFs. You don't need them. I promise you don't need them. And if you really need to look back at it, then take a screenshot, rewatch the video, and do active listening. Because there's so many times when people get PDFs and then it just, you lose it and the email becomes like digital trash, or if you print it out, like printing, that's not the future unless it's like 3D. So I just can't stress it enough, y'all. Make this real for you, whatever that is. I tried to do a little something,
Well, and so the last piece is that when we're building these things, don't build all your strategies based upon a bunch of ifs. Mm-hmm. Use what was to build what will be. And like we always say, if we're a fifth, we'd all be drawn. So simple catalysts help build foundational investment structures. Don't invest on hope alone.
Do it. Because even the pivot won't save you.
Not at all. So our wonderful guests, do you guys have anything that you would like to add as it pertains to some of the sauce on top? I want to ask you, I want you guys to also be able to talk about your experience going through this wonderful matrix also, to prepare folks, for what is it that what are some of the things or takeaways that they should kind of look forward to when they start to go through these types of exercises?
Well, I'll say for me, the biggest takeaway is literally expanding the way that you think, because I was just thinking about what's happening right now. Like, what is Tesla doing today? What is Apple doing today? And instead of thinking 3 to 5 years from now, it literally made me think, and it was like, if it could do this, then the stock could possibly go here, here, and here. And then what if the stock didn't go here? Then I need a backup plan. So I need a plan B, like you said, a pivot. So I think overall, the whole process is really going to have you thinking completely different.
Dope.
Yeah, I think we all have the companies that we know and we love. And, you say Tesla. Oh, yeah, I love Tesla. But this exercise really forces you to form a counter argument. So just as strong as your argument for the stock should be your argument against the stock. That way you're not blindsided and you're not like, oh, I never saw that coming. No, if you did your research, you know that these things are weaknesses and they could come in and change your whole theory. So that's kind of been the mental gymnastics that we've been going through. And it's like Kiki said, it is definitely changing the way you look at these companies and what is possible.
I mean, so for me, I'm like a take every day as it comes type of person. Mm-hmm. And this exercise has helped me realize that the future is going to happen whether you think about it or not. And so the more that you're able to expand your mind to think about what is going to happen, like what will be, not what could be, what will be, and you figure out which companies are going to play a part in that what will be, them 1,000% returns is going to be like, you know, finding $1 in a bank. You feel me? Like it's going to be that easy, where it's not even no if, ands, or buts, or hopes, or how much will I get, or this or that. You've already thought so far in the future that you know your money is coming back, on top of the bear argument that you already presented to yourself that Shannon was explaining. You feel me? So that's kind of where I've been at with it. And I've been dreaming about money all week. I've been counting dollars. I've been juggling change in my pocket. I've been thinking about my Cash App having like 6, 7 digits in it. You feel me? Like it's been kind of, you know, that's where I've been at with it, Mark.
Okay.
I want to add something.
Go ahead.
One thing in this exercise that is key, as you're thinking about the future, I want you to suspend what is inside of your portfolio. Do not take dollar figures into account, because you don't want it to block your blessing. And what I mean by that is, as you're thinking about the future and you kind of put a pause on what's inside of your account, when you actually take the time to create a ritual out of this process, and you come up with your vision of the future where there's no limits and you're thinking big, and money is not the reason why you're choosing something or the reason why you're not choosing something. You're just thinking. You'll be surprised at how much further your account can go. And then let's just say that you were thinking about the future, but you didn't put Amazon on there because Amazon's super expensive. You would have missed out. But we don't know how well your account is going to do until it does what it does. And building up these catalysts and these arguments is what's going to propel your portfolios to really go to the next level. And then before you know it, you're balling out on Amazon purely if you want to. So don't let money stop you in thinking big. That's a key part of this exercise. And then one other thing that I think is really important as you're doing this is to do this in a collaborative space. And the reason why I say do this in a collaborative space is because as you're thinking of these catalysts, you'll be with other people that think differently from you. And it is a good way to build up your ability to build up your confidence and stand your ground as you think about, no, this company is definitely in the future. And then someone else is like, well, you know, I'm not too sure if that one's in the future. And then you're like, let me tell you why this is a part of the future. And you can tell by your level of, you know, confidence, how, like on a subconscious level, how much, if you really believe in that company, or if you really want to go to bat for them. Because if your voice shrinks in volume, or, you know, you're whispering, or you're like, well, you know, I'm thinking that X, Y, and Z is the good reason, you'll be able to tell. Because when you know a company and when you are feeling that company and you see that company in the future, the passion just goes through. Okay, it is evident. And then that also helps in convincing someone else, like, yo, you need to listen to me. You're gonna miss out. I'm trying to tell you, your portfolio is about to go to the next level if you listen to what I'm trying to tell you. So don't let money stop you. And make a ritual of this.
Yep.
And collaborate. Get your squad together. Make your own quote unquote CNBC. Do your, like, make it yourself. That's what I mean by like taking this and really making it your own. Whether that's your mom, some other cousins, some friends, whoever is about that life, about when it comes to investing, and whoever has already moved out of the hood. I said I wasn't going to talk about them.
I'm just saying.
I said I wasn't going to talk about them.
I don't even have any water, so I'm like literally just like.
I said I wasn't going to talk about them.
I've been on my best behavior because, you know, I could like really go ham and just throw in the shades and go for it. But
we're not going to do that.
Today, we're just talking about the future, and some things you're just going to have to leave in the past.
Yes. AKA we love it. Okay. So, but yeah, so what I'm saying is, y'all, when I say make this your own, however that translates for you with your personality, do that. Make it fun. Like, I've had so much fun going through this process, even though I've barely been sleeping, because all I'm thinking about is, oh my gosh, Jolyn, you are about to be out here next year.
Yo, I am out here.
I'm pushing up walk-away dates, everything. Everything's like changing. I'm like, ooh, do I even want to stay in Seattle? I could really go anywhere. What's Mars? What's up with Mars? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just thinking of like all these other things. So, y'all, I want you to soar right now. Visualize yourself soaring. Visualize the amount that makes you uncomfortable in your portfolio. I want you to see those zeros. And when you're counting stuff out, please use full numbers. I don't care if someone's like, if you got to count some things, count it in the millions. Okay. If someone's like, oh, I need 5, whatever, say, when you're counting it out, say that's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. Get that in your spirit, all up in the cells, okay? Activate your voice. Do all that, because like we are not playing no games, okay? So we are talking about ownership. I'm talking as far as ownership, own your own future. No fractional shares, period. We're done with that. Because let me tell you something, y'all. We were owned fully, not fractionally, fully by someone else.
100.
Okay, 100% owned and controlled by someone else. So if we're going to be talking about freedom,
would you want to have fractional freedom?
No, there's no such thing as fractional freedom. That doesn't even exist.
What is that?
I don't know.
It does not exist.
I clearly don't know. So
yo, let me just say this one last thing, and then I'm gonna calm down. Owning, quote unquote, owning fractional shares is like Harriet Tubman knocking on your door saying, okay, we ready to go tonight. And she asks you, are you ready? And you give kind of like a half answer, like, yeah, Harriet, I'm ready.
That's not gonna work.
And then you can't even make it the whole trip. You got to turn around. You got to risk it all. But if you would have waited until you were fully ready to make that move, to get all the way to freedom, we wouldn't be having this conversation about this so-called fractional freedom. We don't have the time. There's a sense of urgency. The time is now. Wealth gaps are increasingly increasing. We don't have time for that. So don't be idle. Lace up your shoes, as Tevo likes to say, and get ready to run to this freedom.
Yo, good
financial
shoes
freedom,
too.
that is. We don't have time, y'all. Our ancestors, bless their hearts, they're waited for a moment like this to see us going for all of the freedom and not just a little bit of it. We are the most resilient. Think of where we have come from, everyone. The strongest, the brightest of the bright. That is what's in us right now. If I was telling a lie, I wouldn't be here right now. Okay? So I'm only stressing this to say that this is urgent. We can do this. We have each other. We got us. We can do this, and we will do this. And I cannot wait. For the cousin cookout when all of us are. This will probably be pre-walkaway.
I was gonna say, what is probably pre-held at?
Well, they got a committee. The cousins are working that out. But let me tell you this: this will be the only event where you ain't gotta ask who all gonna be over there. You won't have to ask that because everyone that'll be there, you'll want to be with them. It'll be all your favorite cousins. So look forward to that.
One of the interesting things to talk about is in season 1, we mentioned the dream is free, but the hustle sold separately. So, and if you realize, if you were really about that theme, then honestly, you put the hustle and the muscle and everything else. We talk about brain wise, not using the sweat of your brow. But we were thinking about it in the sense of it's time to put forth action. Every single one of you have dreams. Now let's put it into action by using our brains. Okay, so now in season 2, we started getting there, but then some of you are still thinking too small. How do we know that? I've said this before and I posted this on Instagram, so I guess I'll say it here on YouTube.
Please do.
If your dreams don't scare you, then you're thinking too small.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that fact. It's like, you should come to a point where you have those chills that come down your spine, or it really makes you sit back and pause and say, whoa, that's huge, or that's wow. Okay. Or the moment where it asks you, where it's like you dream so big and then you come back and question yourself and ask yourself, can I really do this? That's when you know you're no longer thinking too small anymore. Like, that's the focus. It's like, in order to be able to knock out this exercise, when we think about thinking into the future as it pertains to plotting out your positions and plotting, like, literally, you can literally plot this out, and this is literally your game plan going into the next set of years. That is your strategy. And on top of that, have your pivot plays for the just in case already plotted, so that way you're pretty much on autopilot. Like, not that much brain energy and everything else. Yeah, it may cost you some time, but like I said, if your dreams don't scare you, you're thinking too small. Y'all, I know that y'all have been with us like all day, and I know that y'all got families and everything else that you guys got to get to, so we don't want to hold y'all. Given that I'm still stuck in the matrix, y'all, along with some other folks that are with me, I'm pretty much gonna be like getting some rest, because Lord knows my brain needs it. But I will be on I will have a clubhouse session tomorrow morning. It won't be like all the way to the close, but somewhere around 12:30 or something like that, where I get to have the opportunity to sit down and talk to the people again. I may actually just go on IG Live for maybe about 20 minutes or so, just to chat with folks. So, because I know that a lot of folks are like, hey, well, what about us on IG that are, that may not have Clubhouse? So I'll do that tonight to chat with you briefly. But I mean, if you guys hear nothing else in what we say, it's like we always encourage you to dream big and just go for what it is that you want. Because honestly, you can have all the greatest dreams in the world, but if you're sitting back and waiting for somebody to deliver on those dreams, then honestly, then you're going to be waiting for a very, very long time. Because I don't know anybody who's ever had their dreams come true just by just sitting back and just waiting. If you want something in this world, then you got to go out there and make your own luck. Y'all, Shannon, Kiki, Tevo, thank you for rocking with us tonight. I know that it was somewhat of a tall order because we put you guys through the ringer throughout this week. So get some rest this weekend. For each and every single one of you, we're kind of giving you the blueprint of how is that you get started and everything else in this process. Now it's just up to you to execute. You heard what Jolyn said. You heard what the rest of the panel has had to say. Thank you. We will not be on YouTube at all next week. We will actually be taking our break, not just because of the holiday, but more so in the sense that we need rest, y'all. We need rest. So honestly, it's like for those, it's like, I want to send an extra special shout out to my wife, who her birthday is on the 22nd. So I love you, Erica. I do actually am asking for folks to pray for me and my family, because since I was actually live, I've received word that one of my family members, one of the matriarchs of my family, has passed away. But still good. And at the same token, still here with each and every single one of you, especially Jolyn. But just send a special prayer towards me and my family as we go through this. But to each and every single one of you, keep going. Keep going. Just think about where we started back from earlier in this year. And look at where you are today. Think about the conversations that we have. Think about how you think.
Yes.
There's more levels for us to go. And with those levels, of course, everything in your life kind of makes those adjustments as you go. So the only thing that I ask is that, and why we dedicate our time and everything else, is because of the fact that we believe in each and every single one of you. The rest of the world may not be able to tell you that or even do that, but we do. We believe. And so essentially, outside of our belief, go make that happen. You got anything else?
No, I said my piece.
All right. Actually, I'm going to let any of you, if you have any final words, I'm going to let y'all go ahead and rock it.
I mean, Jolyn, she put together like a nice little rotisserie feast. I'm going to just add a little black pepper on it, just a little black pepper. one contract gang, I'm pressing y'all next year. We not staying there. I want y'all to be real uncomfortable, because one of the grave mistakes that I made throughout this process, I didn't even do no DD on NVIDIA because I knew I couldn't afford it. Now come next year, with it, knowing what NVIDIA will be, that doesn't help me out any to not know that company at all. So now that I do know that, and now that I have been dibbling and dabbling in the matrix, I'm on y'all neck. We getting double digits NVIDIAs by the end of the year. You feel me? So I'm pressing all y'all. If you claim 1CG, just know you getting pressed. And there's no such thing as the no contract gang. You got 14 days to get right. That's all I got to say.
I guess
I'm gonna just say, y'all dream big. You should believe in your big dreams so much so that when you realize it's not your reality, you're surprised. You gotta already be there in your mind. That's it.
Yes.
That's what you should say. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because 2021, we coming for everybody. No cousin left behind.
All right, y'all. With that being said, thank you. Until next time, which is, yeah, the week after next. We'll see y'all. And until next time, I'm Mark Monroe.
And I'm Jolyn GC in a place called Free.
Oh,
Hey.
Hey, I like that.
dropping in reveals. And who are y'all?
Prophet Sniper.
Mrs. Shannon B.
Man, your favorite cousin's favorite cousin, the come up cousin correspondent. Y'all know who I am.
And this has been your come up. Have a happy holidays, everybody. We'll see y'all later.